White people are responsible for AIDS, and they're still making it worse. White people love to blame AIDS on Africa, but let's be real. They're the ones who spread it, ignored it, and let millions of people die, just because they didn't care. They spread it through dirty colonial medical practices. They ignored it because they thought it only affected gay and black people. They hoarded medicine and let millions suffer because of corporate greed. And yet, they still have the audacity to act like it's everyone else's problem. White colonial doctors spread HIV because they were too lazy to sterilize their needles. White people were out here in the early 1900s jabbing people with the same nasty, used syringes over and over again. Belgian and French colonial doctors in Africa couldn't be bothered to sterilize medical equipment, leading to mass infections. Forced labor camps created by white colonizers created perfect conditions for the disease to spread. Instead of improving healthcare, they focused on squeezing profits out of Africans, even if it meant killing them in the process. So maybe if white people had just known how to wash their damn needles, we wouldn't be dealing with a global epidemic. The moment AIDS started killing people, white conservatives were gleeful because they thought it only targeted people they hated. Reagan ignored the AIDS crisis for years because it was seen as a gay disease. The US government let thousands of people die before even acknowledging the epidemic. White evangelicals and Republicans literally said that AIDS was God's punishment. Meanwhile, in countries like Cuba, run by a non-white communist government, public health responses to contain the virus were immediately developed. But white-run governments, they did nothing. Big Pharma, run by white executives of course, had the medicine to treat AIDS, but refused to make it affordable. AZT, the first major AIDS drug, was deliberately overpriced so that only rich people could access it. Even after new drugs were developed, they refused to share the patents with poor countries. Millions died in Africa because companies decided that profit was more important than human lives. White people created the crisis, then sat back and let people die just to make money. White people literally used AIDS as a weapon. White governments weren't just negligent, they were actively making it worse. The apartheid government in South Africa spread AIDS misinformation to keep the black population under control. The CIA considered weaponizing HIV as part of Cold War biological warfare programs. Evangelical white missionaries spread lies about condoms not working in Africa, directly causing more infections. White people saw a deadly virus and thought, how can we make this work in our favor? That's how evil they are. Even today, white people are still screwing this up. You'd think that after decades of watching AIDS destroy millions of lives, white governments would get their act together. But no, they're still out here being messy as hell. White conservatives still block funding for HIV treatment and education. Big Pharma still tries to keep prices high, even when generics could save lives. Western media still acts like the crisis is over, even though millions of people are still suffering. The same people that cry about protecting life when it comes to abortion have done absolutely nothing to stop AIDS from killing millions of people. White people had every opportunity to stop AIDS, and at every turn, they made it worse. And now, they have the audacity to act like they're the victims. They can take their fake sympathy and shove it, because this crisis is on them. Cope.